Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we're going to talk about the Secret Service. Two different topics that people are asking about, and they just collided in a weird way, in my mind, anyway. The first is the obvious one. The OIG, the Inspector General's office, has apparently told the Secret Service, hey, why don't you stop looking for those text messages because we're going to find them ourselves, or we're going to be looking into it ourselves, and why don't you just treat this like a criminal investigation, because it is. Yeah, like I said, if it turns out they did that intentionally, it was going to be a big deal. Rock the Secret Service from top to bottom. That looks like what's happening. So there's the deleted text messages, and we'll come back to that. Then there are questions that came in about the Secret Service there on the 6th, whether they did it right, all of that stuff, their radio traffic. Yeah, they did fine. I guess somebody said on some network show that they never should have been in a situation where they were sipping, and that sheltering in place. They never should have been in a situation where they are sheltering in place. And yes, that's true. In that world, mobility is life. It's really important. That's why when you go to high security events, there's always these really long lines because entrances are closed off. They're closed off to maintain exit routes. Mobility is really important. So, yeah, I mean, that shouldn't happen, but this is also kind of a unique situation. It's not ideal to be in a situation like that. True, but they handled it. They handled it well. And they were very restrained. That's something that I haven't really seen come up. Understand, their job is to get him out of there. If you're in the way of doing their job, they're going to do their job. They were very restrained. And at the same time, they were scared. They were really worried. And, somebody asked about the way they talk to each other over their comms. Is that normal? No, it's not. But no harm, no foul on that one. That's because they were scared. The reason they were talking to each other in less than best practices, that's why. That's not a big deal there either. But I want to know why they were scared. I want to know why they were scared to the degree that they were. I'm not downplaying the event, okay? But a detail is more than capable of handling the actual capability that they were facing. The opposition, the rioters, coup attempters, whatever you want to call them, their actual capability wasn't high. Okay? So the fear was mainly based on perceived capability, which, sometimes it's just off. There's a reason there's two terms for it, because actual capability and perceived capability, they don't always match. At the same time, that's not a mistake the Secret Service normally makes. So I'm curious. I would be very curious. I think the committee should be curious as to why they were so scared that they were saying goodbye. That should be a line of inquiry, finding out why they were as scared as they were. And again, not why were you such a chicken? That's not what I'm saying. They had every right to be scared. But they normally don't get scared without reason. There are a bunch of reasons that could lead a detail to believe that their opposition has a higher capability than it does. I think that should probably be a line of inquiry for the committee at this point. I would want to look at their threat assessments, the information the Secret Service received from all the other agencies that talked about the event that day and what they could expect to encounter. If a detail was told that, hey, this group probably has a bunch of weapons, well, they might be a little bit more scared. They might be a little bit more concerned about that than they would just a mob. I would be interested to see what the threat assessment said, and then kind of acknowledge that if Pence's detail got them, all of the details got them. The former president's detail had them. That information would have been known to the inner circle in the White House. And those threat assessments could have been made a while before the event. Again, perhaps illustrating that Trump knew the type of crowd he was riling up. Now, that's one possibility. Another is it's kind of out there a little bit. Like so much, so I'm not really going to go into it, but I really want to see those text messages now. There might be a reason in those text messages that led Pence's detail to be as scared as they were. Now, back to the original thing with the OIG talking to the Secret Service. Okay, as I said in the second video on the Secret Service on this topic, no, deleting those messages, that is not within the realm of protecting your client's dignity. We are now talking about deleting records that could be operationally linked. This is destruction of government records. And yeah, the OIG does appear to be launching a full-blown investigation into it. This would be a crime. This would be a crime. If this was done intentionally, it would be a crime. If it was done systematically, it would probably be a larger crime. If a whole bunch of people got together and said, oh, these need to disappear, these don't need to make it through the migration or whatever, yeah, that's going to be a bigger thing. And I think that's probably pretty likely. So as far as the investigation, yeah, OIG, that was shots across the bow, saying, hey, we're looking into this. Secret Service actions that day, that they did well, as evidenced by the fact that Pence is still here. That's their job. They won. Okay, it may not have been pretty, but they won. The radio traffic, not best practices, but also not like hugely out of line. The level of fear that they had, that's a question. And that's a question that needs to be answered. I don't believe that it was just, I don't believe they misjudged their opposition by that much without information that would have led them to do that. I would highly suggest the committee look at the threat assessments and find out what those agents knew about that crowd. And then, yeah, they need to do whatever they can to get those text messages. Now, there is also the possibility that some of them may have been deleted because they were embarrassing to the agents themselves. But I don't really see that as likely. It's a possibility, but that doesn't explain the massive amount of missing messages. So, anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.